Today is Tailgate Tuesday with your Idle Zone Syndicate crew. What's shaking, guys?
How y'all?
I'm excited for tonight's guest.
I am too.
I just slid in the door, walked in and sat down, and here we are. So I have no preamble or prep tonight. Take it away, whomever.
Yeah, me too. Because I was tied up
Tied up
this afternoon. I got all distracted.
Go Cubs, I guess, huh? And John, I don't know about you, but do you want to just look to the future of, instead of looking at the past weekend's results at Bone Creek, do you want to maybe look and say, hopefully Big Hill is better?
Why would I not want to talk about last weekend's?
Well, hey, that was a grinder, wasn't it?
It was a grinder. Somebody's got to win, though.
Somebody's got to win. Just so everybody knows, Cherryville Bass Club had a little tournament at Bone Creek. John won. He had 3 keepers. I had 2 keepers.
Excuse me? Can
I think you cut out there, Kyle.
Can you say that again?
Yeah. I don't remember. What was your total weight?
It's always good to go on the local lake and beat all the local hammers.
Yeah.
America.
I mean, guy lives in Oklahoma, competing against all the local sticks.
Yeah, just spend every waking moment out there. We're fishing. We get to fish Big Hill this weekend. That should be fun.
Not going.
I don't even get a chance to get any redemption.
It's Sunday, man. Not fit. I told Terry I'm not fishing on Sunday unless I absolutely have to. Sorry.
There you
go. Well, okay then. We will see you at Grand at the end of October.
Yep. Yes, sir.
I think that's maybe what I said when we parted ways the other day.
Yep, you did. Said see you at Grand.
So, well, moving right along, since you guys, 30 seconds before 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Anything else that you guys want to chit chat about, or you guys would like to bring our special guest on? And
I'd like to bring the guest in.
Yeah, I think so.
I can listen to you guys argue literally every day.
So this guy we got tonight is he's been a pro angler for at least 20 years. 245 total events and counting, 158 times in the money, which is pretty darn good. 13 classic appearances. He's gotten 2 first place, 1 at the California Delta, 1 at the St. John's, hint, hint. 29 top 10s. He's from Salem, Virginia. He calls Smith Mountain his home lake. He put some guys in maybe a lot of guys in a little bit of a panic. I don't know. The other day he did a little titling on his social media that kind of threw a curveball, but he said hell no to retirement. Thank goodness. Everybody, please give a warm welcome to Mr. John Cruz, Missile Baits himself.
What's up?
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me, man. As I was watching the intro, it started to cut out a little bit. So if it starts to cut out for me, I'll try to get closer to my router or something if it's me.
Sound good now.
Okay, cool.
Yep, sounds good.
How does it feel to be in the Classic?
13 going to number 14 on the Classic. It's be pretty awesome.
You already got the tomahawk steaks picked out from a custom butcher, or like what's that whole plan look like for you?
Oh, for a meal, man, I'm gonna take him and all his boys out to somewhere nice there in Knoxville for sure.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. How
Dudes,
you know
let me
you're on the bubble.
Uh-oh.
Are you there? I think he's there.
Yeah, stand by.
We'll stand by.
All good.
Yeah, no problem.
He's choosing a different location.
Trying to line up internet with 4 or 5 or 6 people at the same time is difficult at times. That's all there is to it. No worries.
All right, how about now? Are we better now?
Yeah, much better.
good.
Much better.
Good deal. Yeah, the router's right behind me. I don't know. We were talking fine downstairs for 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden we get on air, and then boom,
That's
blows
kind
up.
of how it goes. It's kind of like fishing tournament. You know, the weather's beautiful, and as soon as the first day comes around, take off. It's gale force winds or something. All right, so where were we?
I was just
talking about a meal, I think, and yeah, I'm gonna take him and all his roommates out to somewhere nice there in Knoxville. I haven't scoped out a place, but he was just pumped that he won, and it was nice. He's a good dude. Whole house is good. Loberg and Tucker Smith and they're just that little group is they're good. And Paul Marks, they're just good fishermen, and they just kind of do their own thing as far as not getting too wound up about anything. Just wanting to go catch them. That's all they care about.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty young group of hammers right there. I mean, we've had the opportunity to talk to Tucker a couple times on the show, and man, it's incredible what he's done so far just in a short period of time. And when he starts talking about some of the techniques that he likes to fish and different things, I just sit back and I'm going, doesn't even hardly compute, you know?
Yeah, I mean, those guys are just they're all kind of savants in their own way. I think that Emil and Paul fish more. You know, they're from the same area, kind of fish a little bit more similar. You know, Loberg from being out west and Tucker being from Alabama. They all bring a little something different to the table, and I think that's kind of key to having a good house of guys that work together, is having people with a little bit different experiences. You know, for whatever 12 plus years, I roomed with Ike and Ellie and with Ish Monroe, and you know, between the three of us, you know, we were from all over the country. We had different friend network groups, and we all had different, you know, really kind of different styles, and it just worked for the three of us. And so I kind of see some of those similarities in kind of the way their friend group is structured, and not too wound up about too much. That's cool.
You still travel? You still travel with roommates, or what's?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been, you know, so for the last 7 years, ever since the split came between BPT and Bass, that deal started. So Ish went over there, Ike and Ellie went over there initially, and then Ed Lochran qualified for the Elite Series. Ed and I have been friends since I was 15. I think Ed was like 21 or 22 when we met, and it's crazy that Ed finally qualified for the Elite. So he and I started rooming together. We had Derek Hudnall with us for a while, and then I think it was probably 4 years ago or so we brought on Brian Schmidt. He was looking for a home on the road, so to speak, and Schmidt came on, and so now it's going to be me and Schmidt, and we're gonna loop Ike and Ellie back into the mix next year. It'd be cool. It'd be kind of like a little family reunion for Ike and I.
He's a ball full of energy.
He's not changed ever since I've known him. He's toned down a little bit. Honestly, he's toned down a little bit, but he can still get wound up tight as a damn top, son.
Yeah, it doesn't take him much to get wound up.
John, you can verify this, and since we're actually going to have a meeting at the Classic, I'm sure somebody that knows the history will pick me on this bet. But John and the other tournament directors used to have a bet on who the last person to show up to the meeting, the pre-tournament meeting, was going to be, and it was like the highest ranking guys were, it was Ish, Iaconelli, or me, because we would always show up at like the very last minute. And I think I won you a couple bucks, didn't I, John? Over the years?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. It was always a valid pick to go with John.
Yeah. I mean, there was no need to just get in there and sit around. I didn't like to do that. I didn't like to hear all the guys chattering and talking. So it was by design. We a lot of times we'd sit in the truck for a few minutes if we were relatively early, and then we would just wait until those last couple minutes and slide in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are the little behind the scenes. Like it was that was a big deal for the Bass staff. Like, I mean, there's money floating around, like 10 or 12 bucks total. Like,
a lot of pride.
Awesome. Yeah,
a lot of pride.
Was there any like penalties incurred if you were late, or?
Yes, $50 if you're late, I believe. 50 or 100, one or the other.
Used to be, yeah.
It costs the angler money.
Yeah. Oh, they had to pony it up. A lot of times, Trip would like hem you up at the door if you were late and make sure that you paid right then.
Mm-hmm. Holy cow!
Yeah,
they're serious about it.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Well, maybe they like put you in the penalty box or something. No, they're wanting some cash. They got to go to dinner, I guess.
That's right. I don't know where that money went, but Trip typically had a new fishing rod after somebody was late. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
This is just something random, John, but I talked with you at the Classic a little bit. You're just down from Rick's booth there on kind of the other corner there in Tulsa, and had the opportunity to chat with you for a little bit about missile baits and different things. And what's your opinion on how the industry's going as far as sales? Is everybody just buying minnows, or can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so the fishing industry as a whole is bigger than a lot of times what we look at as like dedicated bass anglers. But the bass market drives a lot of certain companies like Missile Baits, RoboWorm, Yamamoto, Strike King, et cetera. All those Zoom, all those companies are driven by bass fishermen like ones like us. And whether you're a pro, semi-pro, aspiring pro, just like beating your buddies on the weekends, all of that's like one bigger segment of the market. But there's also inshore saltwater, offshore saltwater, catfish, all these other things. And so if you want to isolate the bass fishing portion, which is probably what's more relative to us, I think that there's like a receding tide right now of demand of anglers going fishing, wanting to go fishing. I think a lot of anglers are tired of hearing the Randys out there complaining about everything and making excuses for everything, to why they're not catching 25 pounds, or why they're, all these high school kids are catching 26 pounds and they're not catching but 11, or why they got DQ'd. Or what, so there's all these things that are what happened? There's all these things driving negativity within the bass fishing world. I think that's pushed our demand down a little bit. And I think I've talked to a number of companies across the board that are bass fishing focused, and sales are down over the last, year and a half to 2 years. And so, and I think it's just a demand for anglers going fishing. That's really that seems to be the crux of the problem. So when I'm not seeing, when I'm talking to other industries, I don't see that drop off in inshore saltwater. We're not seeing that drop off in offshore fishing. We're not seeing that drop off in catfish. To my knowledge, those drop offs are not happening. It's just more kind of center focused around the bass fishing world and the lures and stuff associated with that. But I mean, everybody on this deal right here, we all buy a crap ton of tackle. I may have bought some tackle today. Just saying.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Do you have a theory?
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of the negativity around everything. I don't think it's as much economic driven. Because we've been through that in 2008. We had in 2008, 2009, we had that recession. I mean, got tight for a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? And the tackle industry never checked up. Things just consistently sold because now that's the fishing tackle, like lures, line, that kind of stuff, because people were going fishing. They may not have bought as many rods, and as the bigger ticket items kind of tapered off. Boat sales went down, because everybody that had a boat was like, all right, we're just not going to buy a new one. And so I think some of that is catching up to the boat market, but people are still buying boats. There's still some money going around. And so that tells me that it's not like that people aren't going fishing. I honestly don't think people are going fishing as frequently, and they're not as like gung ho die hard about it. And I think it's kind of a lull in the demand right now. Hopefully we can get some stuff to get people fired back up. Like, I don't know, having maybe a Super Bowl commercial of people bass fishing and gets people all fired up again. And maybe I don't know if what Bassmaster's doing with the forward facing sonar rules, maybe that gets some people fired up. Maybe some local team trails start mixing it up as far as not just having every tournament live scope. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to do it, but I think the pendulum's starting to swing back a little bit, and it has to do with forward-facing sonar. Not that I'm not saying forward-facing sonar is a devil. I just think that's just the cause of a lot of the negativity for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I agree. I think social media, bass fishing world, all everything could use a touch of positivity. Everything.
Yeah.
It's
just, you don't have to be so negative about it. I mean, yeah, live scope should not define what bass fishing is all about. But I mean, to just say, oh, we need to go back to using cane poles and, back to when I used to catch them like that, I think you're getting at the root of what's going on here.
Yeah.
And it's not just one person, that's the squeaky wheel here. I think that squeaky wheel chimes in with a lot of anglers that have not kept up with the technology and just keep doing what they've done. And they just don't catch them as good as they used to. And that's an easy excuse to say all these high school kids looking at the damn cheater box and stuff. That's just not where it's all, like if that's what all you can think of and come up with, you're going to find an excuse for why your car broke down. You're going to find an excuse why your damn girlfriend broke up with you. You're going to find an excuse for everything.
So Missile Baits is doing fine. They're not going away. And you guys aren't going to make the mistake of quit producing one of your top selling baits or anything anytime soon, are you? Because I'm sure you're the same way. Like it's easy for me to rattle off like a half a dozen lures that are like quadruple the cost that they used to be now because they don't make them anymore. Like you're not planning on doing anything sneaky like that, are you?
I mean, we evaluate everything each year, and if something's not getting enough turns, and we do discontinue some baits here and there, but it's wild because then all of a sudden we get some like Tackle Warehouse. Like we were talking about that missile crawl earlier. Tackle Warehouse did a run of 4 colors, so now they've got 4 colors on their website. So if anybody ever wants a missile crawl, we just turn them to Tackle Warehouse and they go click and buy them. But we don't inventory and stock those because we weren't turning them fast enough. So we have just, stayed focused on the items that do turn fast enough. And then we're just hopefully coming out with new items that do turn fast enough to keep everybody excited and keep things rolling. So like the new Freedom Flyer we're coming out with is a new minnow style bait. It's got the up pitch elevators in the back that are different, and do that thing goes. It's the easiest minnow to roll for sure, but it's got some other applications that we're going to show when we finally get them in stock here in a couple of weeks. We're gonna show people all the different stuff that it does, because it's really cool. It's got way more applications than just putting it on a jig head minnow. It's pretty badass.
Any ideas of new colors for D-bombs or new colors for any other baits, or are those? What I'm getting at is, I don't know when it was. Probably, I can't remember the tournament. It was a Bassmaster was on Grand, and it was either 06 or 09, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
Been a minute.
And like, this is just an example. Missile didn't do this, but a pro was fishing a bank, and he was sponsored by Jean LaRue, and I'm assuming he probably broke this biffle bug off on this point. So like 2 weeks later, we're deep cranking this point and just happened to snag this biffle hardhead with a biffle bug on it that was red shad color. Mm-hmm. I called Jean LaRue, and Jean LaRue's, they're like straight up going, "We've never made red shad, and we don't know what you're talking about." Does John Cruz at Missile happen to have any of those secret colors?
We've got a few. We get a few pet colors for sure, but most of those are exclusive colors by certain dealers or distributors. Like Tackle Warehouse has a handful of their exclusive colors. Tournament Tackle up in Illinois, they did a bunch of different exclusive colors back in the past. Bridgemaster down in Florida's done them. Z's Tackle down in Louisiana's done some custom colors. So there's been a bunch of colors. Now Fisherman's Warehouse has a couple out in California. Angler's Paradise has got one coming here in the next probably 2 weeks. A really cool looking black, green, pumpkin, red looking thing. So yeah, there's a ton of like exclusive colors floating around. You kind of have to hunt them down to find them. It's pretty cool. It's a fun game for people.
Like bourbon collectors.
Yes, exactly.
And Devin wants to know how many do you have to order to get a special color? Is that even possible?
Yeah, sure. We've had a couple individuals order special colors in different baits, and it's 10,000 pieces. So however you want to cut it, like if it's a D-bomb, you can put part of them in 6 count bags, or all of them in 25 count bags, or you can split them between the two. So it just depends on, or you can just get them all in bulk. Yeah, if you just want them all in bulk, we'll sell them to you that way. We don't discriminate. We'll just we're into selling fishing lures that help.
How many is 10,000? Is that like a 50 gallon drum, or?
Roughly, yeah, roughly. It's not exactly. It just depends on the bait, but yeah, that's roughly. And the cost depends on how much plastic's in each bait. So like a D-bomb would be more than, say, a smaller bait like a missile crawl, like we talked about earlier.
There you go, Devin.
I wonder how long it would take for me to go through GP3 and the D-bomb in a 10,000 count.
Well, luckily for you, we have those in 25 count bags, so you can just snap onto those.
Yeah, they work. They work good.
We've had people ask for 100 count bags, but if you put more than about 25 in a bag, they'll deform over time because of just the weight of them pressing against each other, and so we help people out by not letting them do that.
Well, thank goodness for John Cruz and missile bait D-bombs is all I can tell you.
It's caught me a few big ones. Dude, it's pretty wild because like even Seth Fighter's personal best fish was caught on a D-bomb. And this was like right before he was getting ready to turn pro, went to Florida and was flipping in the stick marsh or somewhere down there and punched up a 13 something or other. And I know of 2 different 14s caught on a D-bomb. He caught that 13. I know of a bunch of 12s and 10s, tons of 10s. It's cool to see all the big fish that a bait that you sketched out by hand and you went through all these different, we went through probably 5 or 6 different versions before I got it to where I liked it, like the shape and the size and the way it fished. And then we came out with it and then ended up catching a bunch of fish and a bunch of big ones.
Very cool.
How do you run a business and fish the elites, like a successful business?
It's running a business is, with employees and stuff is very difficult. You have to assemble a good team to when you're gone, that the team carries on and does what you would expect them to do or what you want them to do. I mean, there's other guys that have different businesses, whether it's plumbing businesses or, guys that are like Ed Lockridge. He was an attorney the entire, and he had a bunch of darn rentals. He's got all kind of stuff going on. So everybody has different stuff going on that's on tour. I mean, there's a number of guys that are full-time pros that don't have as many, quote unquote business obligations that are not, sponsor related stuff. But it's just, time management and setting up a good team around you to run things the way they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably easiest way to explain it.
Yeah.
Danny's like gazing off into the abyss.
I'm just listening. Grandma told me a long time ago that you can't listen with your mouth open. So I'm just taking it all in.
I love it.
I want to take it back a little bit. You've been on the elite since 06, or I'm sorry, you've been with Bassmaster longer than 06, but
yeah,
you haven't left the elites. You were with them in 06 and you've been there since. What's some of your favorite moments early on? And why are you still there? Why did you hang in there and why are you still there now?
Well, the very first Elite Series event, Ish Monroe won it on Lake Amistad. And I'd never been to Amistad, I'd never been that far south. Ish had never seen it. None of us had ever seen the place. We show up, and when Ish saw it, he was like, "Oh my God, this looks like a lot of lakes I fished before out in California, Arizona, and stuff." And so he is at home. He is loving it, and he's caught a lot of big fish. So, 6-pounders don't get him too excited. 8-pounders do. 10-pounders really, really get him excited. But 4-pounders get me excited. So I was all skewed right off the gate. And I remember when we put in first morning of practice, run out there. I run into this cove and I wanted to see how clear the water was because it was so dark. It was still dark early in the morning. And I had a Cinco on and I stood up on the side of the deck and I just pitched it over the side of the boat to see how far I could see down. And I'm watching my Cinco to go down and I'm like, man, that thing is really clear. And I'm watching it. Well, it went out of sight over the side of my boat. And as I go to reel it in, there's one on there and it's about a 3.5-pounder. I thought, man, this place is going to be good. And I mean, every practice day you're catching 50 to 70 fish, and every day in the tournament, same deal, just blistering them however you want to catch them. The whole lake was flooded. That was one of the most phenomenal fisheries, probably only second to what we did when we first went to Falcon. It's kind of the same deal, just absolutely absurd. Like if you dream about a bass fishing lake and catching them, those two places were it. I mean, that was just unbelievable. And to watch some of these other, like when we first time went to Mille Lacs, kind of the same way, but on the smallmouth side. First time we went to St. Lawrence River, kind of the same way. But man, as time has gone on with the St. Lawrence River, I feel like the fish have gotten bigger, and we figured out how to catch them better. And so that place is kind of unique because we absolutely screwed up Amistad and Falcon by putting those places on the map. We really screwed up Mille Lacs too, same kind of way. But that's just what happens. That's one of those old memories you have from being on tour for as long as you have. But yeah, I don't know. It's just still fun. So I don't know when I would even consider not doing it.
Yeah, I saw the title of your video the other day and I'm just like, there is no way. There is no way.
Clickbait.
Yep.
Sucker.
Yep.
Yep.
I had like literally 5 people text me, 5 or 6 people text me and say, you got me. And then I had 5 or 6 more say, dude, at the very end, I was waiting for it and you gave it to me at the end. Because at the end, I stomped the boat and I'm like, no time soon, take off. Dudes love that. So it was
I
fun.
did enjoy that. You fired that motor up and just got it on, set it up on pad. I thought, well, that's a decent ending, so
That's awesome.
It's hard for me, since I graduated high school in 06, and I've been in the bass fishing for as long as I can remember. It's hard for me seeing some of the guys that have recently retire and leave, kind of leave the eye of the sport. One of them was, honestly, Clark Wendlandt was one of the hardest ones for me to watch go, because I remember him fishing Walmart FLW Tour and yada yada, and he was just a great angler. Bernie Schultz this year's he's announced his retirement ish, I guess, from obviously Elite Series and this and that. Any of those guys, do you think there might become maybe some sort of a veterans tour at some point?
There seems to be some chatter about it. I think it would be awesome to see. I would tune in extensively and watch it. I think it would be really cool. Whether it's just some kind of Legends or Masters kind of tour. I think the timing is right. I think it could work. We just need somebody to pull the trigger on it. I heard Johnny Morris has been talking about it behind the scenes for a handful of years. And I don't know why. If that dude's talking about it, I don't know why it hasn't been done, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I think it would be super cool to see. And as long as I've been fishing, Ike and Ellie and I talk about it. Over the last couple of years, we've talked about it a handful of times about being involved in the sport, basically from early 2000s to 2020. We feel like was the golden era of professional bass fishing. And it was cool because you had so many of the legends that were still involved in the early 2000s, from Denny Brower, George Cochran, Jimmy Houston, Roland Martin. Like, all those dudes were still actively participating in all of the tournaments, the freaking legends of the sport. All of them, pretty much all of them, were still fishing. It was just, I look back at some of those tournaments that I fished in early 2000, and man, it was just like a legends list. It was crazy. And then, seeing those guys over the years kind of peel off and do their own thing one by one, and, being just a handful of them left, but then also seeing the new generation come along, like I'm trying to think of somebody who's come along in like 10 years ago, but, like even the Chris Saldanes, he's been in like 13 years. Like, I fished for a long time before he even came on. And then to watch him kind of, go through his career and I don't know, you guys like that. It's cool to see the next
Brandon.
generation come along. And then even now, like we're looking at guys like Trey McKinney and Tucker Smith. Dude, those dudes are absolute hammers. I think they've got the drive, they've got the energy. As long as they stay focused, they're going to be the deal for the next 20 plus years. McKinney maybe 30, easy.
Yeah,
young. Tucker.
We've talked about that on the show a little bit about the turnover and how I'm not sure. This is just my opinion. I'm not sure there will ever be any more 20-year guys because I think there's a bunch of Trey McKinneys and Tucker Smiths that are coming. And even those guys aren't going to be safe after, the turnover. Unless they change the way you do like the average or something. Because once you're out and you have less years to do an average of, like if Trey's a bad example because he's like,
you got to use a good angler that's got armor that you could pierce. Yeah.
Somebody that's been there.
Like a Rob G. I mean, Rob G is great. Finished top 5 in the points the first year, struggled, just missed the Classic. He might sneak in somehow this year, but yeah, he's one of the guys like we're talking about. Like he showed a few things in his armor this year.
Yeah. Cody Huff, John Garrett,
bingo. Yep.
Real solid guys.
I think it's becoming in that aspect of things, bass fishing is becoming more like a regular sport, like where you're in your football and your baseball and all that. It's rare to have somebody last more than 3, 4, 5 years.
So in the NFL, the average player is in the league for less than 4 years.
Yeah,
they have to get to 4 years before they get vested to be on the roster for 4 years. So that's what But then you got your Peyton Mannings and your Brett Favres that play for over 20 years, and you know Tom Brady's. So the legends, the big names, those guys still play for basically as long as they want to play.
Mm-hmm.
And
is there any moment in time in the last 20 years where you can put your finger on something and say, this is one of the reasons why I've been in the sport for 20 plus?
You mean like a pat myself on the back situation? Or what are you talking about?
It's not easy. It's not easy competing with the fields of anglers that you've competed against for 20 years. So, have you ever, sat down and thought about what is one of the number one contributing factors to me sustaining a career in the Elite Series for as long as I have?
I think probably the biggest thing is a combination of for longevity in the sport for a pro. This is I think it's a big deal. Practicing it's way, way harder, but it's a combination of specifically two things. One, positive attitude, and two is staying focused on what matters, which is figuring out what the bass are doing. Those are the two things that, in my opinion, if any angler, if you get to the Elite Series, you got to be good. So once you get there, the things that differentiate yourself, in my opinion, is two things: attitude and how you approach everything, and two, are you staying focused on what matters? I'll tell you one quick example. Me and Ish and Ike were rooming together. We'd roomed together for a handful of years. The three of us have been kicking ass for like 3 years or so, 3-4 years in a row. And then me and Ish were off. Like we had an off year, both of us. Ike did okay. We both had off years. And then we were, I'll never forget it. We were at Lake Oneida at a tournament. And both of us, Ish and I, were starting to kind of come around a little bit. And it was starting to dawn on us that we weren't having a good time. Like we were not enjoying being, like we were getting caught up in all the BS that we didn't have any real control over, like whatever it was. and we just weren't enjoying ourselves and making sure that we were doing what we needed to do. And me and Ish had this conversation going, and it was heated. Not like we weren't arguing. We were passionate about what we were talking about as we were getting tackle ready. And dude, Ike and Ellie goes, Hey guys, can I stop you for 1 second? And me and Ish were like, yeah, sure. Well, what's up, buddy? He goes, do either of you have Gamakatsu number 5 round bend treble hooks? And I said, yeah. I got them right here. And I had a treble hook box right there. I said, how many you want? He's like, 2. I said, so I gave him 2. He's like, thank you. Okay, carry on. And I looked at Ish, and he looked at me, and it was like we both knew it right then. Like, what are we doing? And he's like, I don't know. I said, dude, we're not staying focused on like what even these fish are doing. Ike and Ellie's like thinking of every possibility to catch a bass the next day, and we're focused on how we got a few bites in practice, and then talking about all this other BS that has no bearing on this tournament. And we started talking about it from that point on, and and I think it was that off season or like another off season. Ish came to me. he goes, dude, we're gonna. He goes, I'm gonna do things different next year. I'm like, all right, well, what's up? He goes, no red meat and no drinking at tournaments. I was like, shit, are we rooming together next year? He said, what do you mean? I said, dude, we always have steaks like 2 or 3 nights a week. I was like, unless you develop some allergy to them or something. I said, and we always have a couple cocktails at night. Well, that's not what's causing us to not catch them. I'm sorry, but that's not it. And he said, what do you mean? I said, dude, let's go. If we don't have a couple cocktails, let's have a couple cocktails and have a good time, man. And eat good. Let's eat good food. Like, don't eat this damn, crap. And he's like, okay, fine. So he went. He's like, all right, steaks only once a week. And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, dude. That's fine. We can do that. So so he tried to bring that on there. And I was like, no. We're having a good time. We're gonna eat good. We're gonna have a couple cocktails each night and laugh and tell jokes and make fun of each other and have a good time. I talked to Ish today, actually.
How's he doing?
He's doing good. Him and his wife, they bought CNC Marine out in California. They're opening up a tackle shop called Angler's Paradise as a part of that. And Ish is fishing basically every weekend and kicking butt over there on the West Coast. And they're going to be kicking butt. They've already sold a bunch of boats and working on all kind of boats. And he's doing great, or they are doing great, I should say.
Awesome. I think you can apply that to everything. Like our level, like Kyle and I's club fishing level. I mean, when I'm just having fun, I'm catching more fish and I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm not having fun, I'm not.
Well, I get with certain friends and I have too much fun. And we goof around too much. There is a line of staying positive and having a good time, and then goofing around too much. But as long as you're staying focused, that's why I said it's 2-pronged. You got to stay focused on what matters, and that's how you're going to get bit. What changed? Was it cloudy yesterday and sunny today, or was it vice versa? Or was it windy? Was the wind blowing out of the east and now it's blowing out of the west? So now we may need to switch to these other points that are getting more wind blown, or like you just stay focused on duplicating what you did before, or finding out what's new. That's all that matters. And all this other business, it like, the forward facing sonar and the Randy stuff, like, dude, that doesn't matter. That is not going to help you or catch one more bass, is listening to that negative crap. It's not going to help you catch one more fish.
Amen.
We had a guy on the podcast, not too terribly long ago that flat out told us, like, he let his bad attitude affect his career, and he let it affect his stats when it come to fishing decent. I mean, I completely agree. I mean, I'm one of those that if I've got something on my mind that's really bothering me and I can't focus, I might as well just stay home, because I'm not going to do well,
Yeah, sometimes for me, it's weird to kind of explain it because it's never the same, so to speak. It's like if I'm not fishing well or up to my standards, I should say. Sometimes I feel like I'm not prepared mentally when I get there to the tournament. I feel like when I go to an Elite Series tournament, I've got to immerse myself in that tournament mentally for days leading up to even practice starting. Because if I can't do that, then I get to practice and I haven't immersed myself with like every possibility, everything that I need to be prepared for before practice starts, because you can't waste a day. Most of the time you can't waste a day in practice for an Elite Series, or you'll be behind. And then it takes you that much longer to figure it out. And I mean, there's always exceptions, but for me, that's just kind of like the recipe. You gotta immerse yourself in it for a couple days mentally, not letting a bunch of other stuff get in your way. Sometimes it's, like scheduling time to do that. At almost every Elite Series tournament, I have a full day before practice starts, and that full day is getting tackle ready, going to the grocery store, and I'm thinking of like 99% of the time that day, I'm thinking about nothing but that tournament. But I have to have more than just that one day. I've got to have multiple days before I even get there of doing kind of the same thing, just to kind of make sure I have all the baits I might need to get. You get there and you're like, oh, daggum, I knew I was going to need mag speed worms and June bug. And you go to that area and they don't have any. So what do you then you might have to overnight them just to even think that you might halfway need them. You don't even know if you need them, but you thought that might be a possibility. Or, I mean, because if it's a D-bomb or something, obviously I'm going to have it. But if it's something that's not out of out of my norm, you just got to immerse yourself in it, for all that preparation time. That's one of the things people don't really see on kind of from the outside, I guess.
So would you say, tournament prep and getting yourself ready for an event, are you more of like OCD perfectionist when it comes to your boat and tackle and the little details, or are you one of those that just piles it off in there and just load and go kind of people?
Are you like Kyle or are you like John?
So if this is the OCD side and this is the rec side,
OCD side is over there.
I'm on this side, but I'm not OCD. I'm on this side. I'm very organized, but if stuff falls out of the bag, like I don't have a conniption, it's like whatever, it's fine. I'll clean it up some other time. But I know I need to be organized enough to know where everything is, and organized enough to be prepared enough to know that I have everything that I think that I might even need. Like if do I have buzz baits? Do I have different color whopper ploppers? Do I have, all of my Little John box? Do I have my deep Little John box? Do I have my, lipless baits with all my Rukus in it and stuff? Just do I have all that stuff with me? And I feel I joke because that day before practice, or whenever I'm working on my tackle and prepared for a tournament, I feel like that kid, the little kid that goes to the bathroom, and then in order to take a pee, I got to pull my pants all the way down. That's how I feel when I'm doing tackle, because I have to take all of my rods out and lay them all out so I can look. I want to visually look at every rod that I have in my boat while I'm getting them ready. It's like it's a weird deal, but that's what I have to do. But that's exactly what I feel like that little kid. I got to pull them all the way down just to make sure I get her done.
That's hilarious. So like I know like one guy, Brian Snowden, told me, he's like, if I pull a Zoom package of brush hogs out and it's got like a little dimple in it, those go in one pile, and the perfect baits only go in this little pile over here. And then for the longest time, I'm like, maybe that's the key of being like this much better is time on water and perfection. Until I seen one guy's boat, and he opens the lid of this. It was a Z9 at the time.
I was going to say it was Prosnick, but he's never been in a nitro.
And I'm like, Van Dam opens the center compartment of his boat up at the boat dock at Table Rock at a dealer conference. And I was like, There is no way. I would have swore to you that he was way more of a perfectionist than that. Like, it was just a heaping pile of plastics in the
I'll be
center
Van
bar.
Dam.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that's interesting. He's definitely. I guarantee he knows what's in there though. Like every single pack, he knows what's in there.
I wish you guys could have been there for it. Like, it was just a dealer conference thing, and there was boat demos down at the dock, and I worked for a dealer at that time, and we were there, and yeah, he was like fixing to take somebody fishing or something, and he and then he hops in his boat and opens the center compartment, and I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, it was full. I was.
Oh, dude, I've fished against Kevin for 20 years. Like I know exactly how he is. Yeah, he's one of those just absolute freaks of an angler, and he epitomizes exactly what I'm talking about, because very, very, very rarely have I ever heard him say anything negative. Anything. Like, he just brushes it off. Like, shit'll piss him off, and he'll tell me, like, hey, this really ruffled my feathers. And then he's done with it. He moves on. But dude, he absolutely stays dead focused on what triggers those fish to bite. Dead focused.
It's pretty incredible to watch some guys that are able to actually do that, because I would like to be like that one day.
Well,
I strive to be that way.
Yeah, I mean, the wild thing is, I feel like that the more stuff that went on, the better he was, because the classic stuff really caused a lot of guys to get distracted on what was really going on, and he was laser focused on. I mean, you do that, you win 4 of them, almost win multiple other ones. That's just that he was so focused on what mattered, and he was like, ooh, the bite is going to do this, and this is what it's going to take to trigger him. If that doesn't work, I've got this. And then, I mean, like, everybody thought, when he won that tournament at Lay, the Classic, caught him in the back of beeswax. He caught him in the back of beeswax, but he had 2 stumps out at the mouth that he had in his back pocket. And I can't remember if it was the second or third day, that bite went and stopped on him. He run out there and caught 2 4-pounders on those stumps, and then ran back there to try to finish out his limit. But so, like, he's just the step ahead on that kind of stuff.
So you've got to be pretty good at that kind of stuff as well. You're part of that ABP. Is it ABP?
Right.
APB?
Right. Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Yeah, Anglers Board of Professionals. Yeah, the ABP.
Yeah, so you're like the king. You're like the poobah or whatever of that group. You start,
Yeah, the president of that
together.
deal.
So I would imagine that there's a lot of negativity that you deal with a lot of times. So you've got to be able to, how do you deal with that? You've got to be pretty good at it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of BS that comes with it, but if somebody calls me or somebody's commenting, I don't take the way that they're saying it. I try to see what is motivating them to be this pissed off about something, or why are they. Like, they mean, some of the guys have said some stuff about me personally. I'm like, well, why are you taking this personal? Like, I don't have anything to gain by wasting so many hours of my life doing this to try to help the anglers as a whole. And a lot of times you can root out what they're really getting at. And then once you identify what they're really getting at, then you just kind of call it out on them. It's like, okay, all right, well, are you really after this? And is this really what you're trying to get accomplished? And once you get there, a lot of times they're like, okay, yeah, well, yeah, actually, yeah, that's kind of what I want. So, I mean, a lot of these guys, I mean, most everybody I've known for quite a while. The younger guys don't say anything. Honestly, they don't say much at all. It's the guys that have been around for 10 plus years are the ones that are doing most of the chirping.
Yeah.
But a lot of that we went through kind of in the first 6 months of being an organization. And I feel like the last handful of months, last probably 3 to 4 months, it's been very constructive. All the calls I get, I don't care who they're from, very constructive, good information, good feedback, good input. So I think we're kind of starting to get our momentum as a group to how we're going to function and that kind of stuff. So that part is good. And Bass is, we have a periodic, at least probably a call a month or so with Bass, and just staying on the same page with them bouncing stuff off of us bouncing stuff off of them. Seems to be going pretty good.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah. I thought you were going to ask something and then you had second thoughts. That's what I thought you were like, well, no, maybe I shouldn't.
Now these guys, they know I don't care about that anymore. maybe I used to, but I don't. No, I think that group is needed, and I'm glad it appears from the outsiders, from what all of us outsiders now are being told, it appears that that Bass is actually taking what you guys are saying and applying it, or at least trying to apply it the best way that they can.
Yeah, I mean, before we had the group, I had a real concern that Bass was wasting way too much time and resources in discussing every topic with like 20 to 40 anglers. Mm-hmm. And so that, let's say 20 minutes times 30 anglers is a crap ton of time. Mm-hmm. And so all they're doing is listening to all the squeaky wheels. So if they talk to 20 anglers on every matter, 80% of the field might think it's fine, but all they hear is the 20% that call them or complain or email them or what have you. So I felt like that a lot of the subject matters and a lot of the things that they were, that Bass was listening to, the people that contacted him, was the squeaky minority that was the loud minority. And so it kind of skewed we're like, oh, we thought the whole field wanted this. So it was just a little bit of I think communication breakdown. I don't think it was anybody's fault. It was just kind of like things happen over time and they kind of progressed to that situation. And that's where we got to, but they needed a funnel to be able to funnel that information to where, certain subject matters we might hear, the AVP and the board might hear, 5 or 10 anglers with the same complaint. Mm-hmm. But we are an angler as well. So we're like, nah, dude, you that ain't the real deal. Like, that's not what everybody wants. I know that's what you want, but I'm telling you, that ain't what everybody wants. Because we know each of us know 5 other anglers that we know their feedback. And so we got a real good hold on what like a third of the field wants to do in a small group. So we're able to help filter that. And then if there's something that needs to be done, we run, anonymous votes and surveys and stuff to where they can be, the anglers can trust that whatever their answers are, nobody's going to see it other than the final totals of what the tallies are. So that's helped, I think, anglers participate more in those kind of things. And we have actual good verified numbers to be able to present to Bass on various topics. And I'm sure there'll be new topics coming up as time goes on.
Yeah, I think that's a question that a lot of people, maybe not, but the question I think about is, are you getting participation from the majority? You said some of the younger guys, they just want to fish.
Yeah, I mean, here's a great example. And I was, I was at a boat show in January, and Jay Shakurat was there for White River, and I was there for Bass Cat, or actually I was there for Mercury. And so, we're doing the thing and talking to people. Hank Parker was there and all this stuff. And then I caught Jay, just he and I started talking. And I said, hey, when I got you one-on-one, I want to get your feedback on something. So I explained this whole situation, and it took like it was a 2-minute question that I asked to him. He looks at me and he goes, Man, I'm good with whatever you want to do because I just want to fish. He had a 10-second, I had a 2-minute question. He had a 10-second answer, and it was beautiful. And he looks at me, and he's waiting for me to say something. And I said, God bless you, man. And he started laughing. He's like, what? I said, dude, literally all you want to do is fish. That is fantastic. I said, if you have any thoughts about anything on any of this, just call me. And I'm good. I said, if I don't hear anything from you, I'm going to assume everything's cool. And he's like, sure, that sounds good to me, man. I literally, I just love fishing and competing, and the rules are going to flex a little this way, that way, whatever. Hopefully you guys can keep it straight. Like,
what do you think? That. What do you think the percentage of elite anglers that actually feel like Jay does? Like, just give me the rules, so I know what I'm fishing, so I know what I have to do, what the rules are, and let's go fishing.
Yeah, I mean, the guys that are 1 to 3 years or so into the sport, they honestly don't have enough experience and know enough to be able to compare anything to what they're experiencing in those first couple of years. So they don't have a lot of input. They're just happy to be there. They're pumped to be there. And honestly, you see it in the results, because those two things that I explained to you earlier, they don't care about all this other stuff that's going on. They just stay focused on what it takes to catch fish, and they smash them. I mean, look at the last 2 years. Those rookies have won a ton of tournaments. McKinney's won one each year. Tucker won one. Paul Marks won one. Emil just won one. I mean, Loberg almost won one. I mean, these younger guys are staying focused on what matters, and what that's what it takes to get bit. That's the whole deal. So I don't know. I think as you get older, more experienced in the field, you get more opinionated on. But remember back in 2008, or remember back in 2012 when we did this and Bass did that, and this was great, and this was, but like, man, you got to learn from history and try not to recreate it, because there were a lot of times there were certain situations going on. Like, we had a ton of pressure from FLW for a period of time. FLW was really juicing up their payouts. They had it going on with all the Walmart connections and all those large corporations putting money into the FLW tour. So Bass had to really, really focus in and throw a bunch of money into the pot. They had to do it to compete, to stay number one. And luckily at that time, ESPN was right about then. ESPN was owning Bass, so they had some pockets to pull from. But that only lasted for so long. And guys will want to look like, oh, well, what about those 07 payouts? Yeah, they were fantastic. Yeah, but Bass was losing their behind on during those years, because they were owned by ESPN. So they luckily, but that's not gonna last forever. It was not a sustainable model. So yeah, the older guys typically are more opinionated, but it's not all negative. Sometimes the guys have unbelievably good, experienced input and thoughts and opinions on things, and that's I remember when Hank Cherry was a rookie. Now he's got all kind of great. I'd say 85% of his opinions and stuff are really cool and interesting, and I love hearing them. But he's a little old, and he's a little weathered, and he's a little bit bitter on some topics. Like we all are. It's somewhat human nature to be. I'm not 100% positive, but I try to be. But some things creep in, and you just got to roll with it and try to just be conscious of it. And Hank he went through a little bad spell, like I was explaining, me and Ish were a number of years ago. Hank went through that, and he and I talked about it about a couple of years ago, and he's definitely come out of that. And I think his tournament performance is a little off this year, but he had some better previous years than he did for a little spell there.
Yeah,
he dealt with a lot of injuries too, so that part was tough.
Yep. So I'm sure you saw NPFL came out with their revised no information rule, and that's kind of the hot topic right now. So what do you think?
For the last 3 months or so, there's been momentum, maybe longer than that, probably more like 6 or 8 months. There's been some momentum amongst the pro angler community, and mostly the elite angler community, to go to either first of the year off limits or 30 days off limits for no information. And I think things go in cycles, because I've been fishing long enough to where I remember, you probably remember, John, back in the day when we had 30-day off limits for no info.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of the Wild West for information, guys bartering and doing different things. And I think there's a way to prevent some of that. Like you still just can't buy information or barter for information. But if it wasn't against the rules, guys were doing it back in the day. And I generally tried to stay away from it. Like if I had a good friend that lived on a lake or something, I might ask him a few things, but I wasn't like basing my whole practice around what 5 different people told me. And if I did get information, I'd get from 1 or possibly 2 people, and it would be I didn't like waypoints. I didn't like doing that game. I'm looking for patterns. I'm looking for baits, and I'm looking for like ideas or things to go on, so that when I hit the lake, things I'm looking for. And it was fine. I didn't mind doing it because but a lot of guys did the waypoint thing. I tried it on some, and it just, you can't catch other people's fish, man. I'm a firm believer that ain't the way to do it. And so a lot of people think that all this information is the devil, Bobby, and it is what guys are, cheating with. But I don't think it is. And for whatever reason, I don't think information is as valuable. And I think that's that momentum that you're seeing amongst a lot of the pro anglers, especially elite guys. The elite guys, if you haven't realized, have a lot of influence on what they're doing over there at MPFL. And Brad listened to him, and he's like, "Hey, I think that makes sense." Done.
Yeah.
Whatever Brad wants to do, he's doing, and he's kind of got free reign. He's got a good head on his shoulders. Those guys respect him. I think and he respects them. So he just went ahead and pulled the trigger and did it. Good for him. Good for them.
I think, back when it was 30-day, no info, social media wasn't near the factor that it was. So it was more of what you mentioned, buying, bartering, that I say we, because I was tournament director back then, but that's the main thing we were trying to accomplish, was stop that.
Right.
But now with the social media, like you just said, I don't think information is as valuable as it was back then.
Because that's all you had to go on. Dated information is useless. Current information, if somebody goes on Gunnersville the week before we're going there for the Elite Series, and then they tell me what's going on and where it's going down, massive help. Yeah. That is a massive help. Yeah. If somebody tells me tomorrow what went on this February, I'm chasing my tail, dude. That's a waste of time. The lake's going to be totally different. Grass can be all different. Rain, lake levels, everything's different. I'm telling you that kind of stuff is a waste of time. Dated information is a waste of time.
Yeah.
So if they do change it to first of the year, whatever, I don't care. Doesn't matter. As long as it's not like the week or 2 prior, that is what really can make a difference.
You'd be okay with going back to the 30-day or 28-day, whatever it is.
As long as it's the same for everybody, I don't care.
Kind of what it is, what it was is. I don't know what it is now in the opens, but wasn't it 28 days or?
It was up until the EQs. The EQs are the same as the Elite.
Unannounced. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that started last year, I think, with the opens, and it went through and carried over to this year. Because if you're qualifying for the elites, you need to kind of play under similar rules. You can't trying to prevent guys just taking information and stockpiling it, because a lot of the lakes that we go to on the opens, we fish on the elites. So the Hartwells and the the Gunnersvilles, if the guys are stockpiling information for 2 to 3 years during the opens, then they do have an advantage because we've not been able to get information on a known body of water we're going to be going to.
Yeah.
That was what a lot of guys are saying.
Yep. I'm just reading some of the comments.
I like I like a little bit of the rule change. I've always kind of felt like the pros have to walk on a really thin sheet of ice when they're around fans and stuff already as is, and so hopefully for some people it kind of brings back gives them a little bit more confidence to talk to the customers of the sport, so to speak, and not have to worry about stumbling into the wrong situation.
Right. I see both sides of it. I'm if they want to change it, I'm fine with it. If they leave it the same, I'm fine with it. Here's an example. Last night, my wife and I went out to dinner with a childhood friend of hers, one of her best friends in life. She grew up in Western New York. Her husband was there. We were started talking fishing. He fishes everyone. Dude, he is like the most novice fisherman you've ever come across. He follows missile baits because of our connection. I've met him, I don't know, 10 times or whatever over the years. Great dude. He was like, yeah, I went up to St. Lawrence River last summer and I was with my buddy and I'm like, hold on, you can't tell me what you did I was like, I know it's weird. And he was in a buddy's boat and it was like a fishing ski. And I'm like, dude, I can't go any further with the information. I had to cut him off and it was very awkward and silly. But that's just the rules that we currently have. And you have to make an effort to do that because I knew what he was going to say. He was going to tell me information about catching fish on the St. Lawrence River.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, with that said, come to find out when you're subject to a polygraph, you best have a clear conscience.
100%.
Because
that is a fact, dude. They're no joke. The ones that MLF uses and the ones we're using now, dude, they're the real deal. And I think the ones we have on the elites are second to none as far as the way they set everything up, because it's not, if you just fail one, you have to take a retest, and there's all these parameters. I promise you, if there's a question to be asked about this polygraph situation, I have asked it over the last couple of weeks. Just as my role as the president of the board, a lot of anglers had a lot of great questions. We asked a ton of questions to the head polygraph examiner. We kind of tried to flush everything out. I think we're going to make a few adjustments just to try to make things more efficient, to make the tests better, tweak the questions a little bit, just try to refine things. But I don't think we're going to completely eliminate what we did this year, because we had, unfortunately, a couple fails for whatever reason. I'm not saying those guys are cheaters. I'm not saying that we're knowingly doing things wrong. But for whatever reason, as you mentioned, if it's on your mind, that test is going to tell that something is on your mind. And I don't know how else to explain it, but that's essentially what the test is. And everybody's going to go into a tornado on polygraph tests. But I tried to beat it down as much as we could, and we're not done with it. But I think that narrowing the window of what you're asking about, and making it just a 30-day off limits, would be a way to tighten it up to where, okay, for this 30 days, did you get any information? Because if you got something in that 30 days, you need to be dinged hard, because you knowingly did something wrong. If you did something, that was 8 months prior that was kind of questionable, you can, if it's kind of questionable, they have plenty of opportunity. I took the test at lacrosse. You have plenty of time to tell anything that you might be thinking about, and then they'll ask questions outside of that. So it's not like if you did something that was kind of borderline, you're screwed. No. You just admit to everything that you're conscious of, and that's essentially the best way to pass the test.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Easier said than done. I mean, I don't know if I should even say this, but from what I understand is if people have a hard time telling the truth consistently on anything, they have a hard time with the polygraph. Any questions? Yeah. So I'm not saying anything negative about the guys that took the polygraph and didn't pass. That's not what I'm saying. I think both of those dudes are really good dudes, and I love them. I mean, I've known Logan a long time. That is a good dude. I wish for anything, I wish he could have passed the test. And I've fished against KJ for a long, long time. I've never known him to do anything sideways. He's always treated everybody with respect on and off the water. So for him to fail the test was just like it's crazy. You know, it made everybody kind of think, you know, God, that could happen to me, I guess.
Yeah. I do have a question on polygraphs, and you probably can't answer this question, but maybe you can ask this question of Chris or Lisa or whoever you got to ask. Back in the day, I mean, when I was there, if a guy failed a polygraph, it was our policy to never give that as the reason why he was DQ'd or fined or whatever. It was whatever the rule was that he missed on the polygraph, that was what we listed, you know. So if he failed the question about the no info rule, when we posted what the guy was DQ'd for or fined for, it would be he was fined for rule C3, whatever.
Yep.
No information. No, you failed a polygraph. And the last couple of times, that's what's been said. And I kind of hate that for the guys.
Well, you know, the polygraph is not 100% accurate. That's widely known, common knowledge, so to speak, even for the most accurate test. Most accurate tests are 90 to a little over 90% accurate. So with that being said, the way that they have the appeals process and being tested in multiple locations and all that, the statistical likelihood of failing 2 tests for the same question is I was told almost impossible to do statistically, almost impossible to fail 2 tests same way. So now your accuracy, because of the system that Bassmaster set up in consulting with the best polygraph examiners in the country, they set up what they thought was the best because they didn't want to disqualify anybody unjustly either. But there's really no other way to enforce the no information rule. So that's the way that it's currently structured. They have that appeal process to where it's a second test, and just because you don't get the question once, if you don't pass it once, they're going to give you the opportunity to keep talking, because if you don't pass it, there's something on your mind, that's what they're saying, or they're not getting a good reading. So the person's either moving, breathing heavy, doing something to where they're not getting an accurate reading. As long as they're getting an accurate reading, they're going to give you every opportunity to keep bringing information out if something's on your mind about that question until you hopefully pass. And if you don't pass, and you don't have any more information to give, then that's kind of where you are. But I don't know. Like, I think the whole process is going to, like I said, continue to evolve. But I think that the initial process, after drilling into it with a fine tooth comb, everybody was. Bass was. Everybody was. It's a process that was done pretty well to try to make sure that they don't do anybody wrong.
I just wish they would still, if Logan was DQ'd for information rule, let's say that instead of saying he was DQ'd for failing a polygraph. There's a different
answer that question.
To me there's a different like if I tell Kyle he's DQ'd from the club tournament for,
I'll say this much, John. I think Bass really does care about the reputation of the anglers, and they initially were being very vague about why anglers were being disqualified to try to protect their reputation. And they were burnt a little bit on it. So they felt like they had to tell more information. So that's what I mean, even an outsider should be able to see that part.
Yeah. I get it. I guess that's just, I'm like the old school, I'm no different than an old.
It's different now because now Bass is not the only media portion. Right. Now, everybody jumps on podcast. Hey, here we are. Everybody jumps on podcasts or, on their own social media or wherever and tell, say whatever they want, because they can control it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
You look like you want to say something, Kyle.
He does.
I just, it's funny you said you got to tell whatever's on your conscience, because I took the first real polygraph that I've ever taken about a month ago, and it was probably nothing, not even anywhere near what you've had to go through, whatnot. But wow, you know what I mean? It was a shock to me a little bit. I can't imagine sitting in a poly because I just won $100,000 and, maybe unconsciously broke a rule and answered the question that was asked and been nervous about it. I just can't imagine. So
it's wild to me that some of the guys that we compete against get nervous in the polygraph exam. Like, dude, you don't get nervous. You just pay $5,000, up until this year, you're paying $5,000 per tournament to play the game. Like, dude, you got steel nerves anyway. And then all of a sudden now you're nervous in a polygraph. Like, I don't understand that. Like the polygraph, I've taken a bunch of polygraphs. I've never been nervous in any of them. I don't understand. I don't know. I guess I don't know. I'm not saying if you've done something wrong, but some people just do get nervous. Maybe they have a phobia of being hooked up to a machine. I don't know what it is, but it's a thing, man. People get scared of that thing.
It was just a initial shock to me, just being like, oh, wow, this is what a real polygraph looks like. And I'm fixing to get hooked up to it. And then I started telling the guy the story of my first polygraph that was in a minivan in a boat ramp parking lot, and it was a joke. And he's like, "This one's a little more serious than that." And I go, "Well, I can see that,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad to hear that the polygraphs that are being given now are more legit, because I talked about this on the last podcast because Kyle was talking about his podcast in a minivan, and we gave some polygraphs in the back of a Toyota truck or or in the Bass trailer, or in because we couldn't find any where to do it.
I took one in the bathroom one time at Bass.
Yeah, and some of the guys that gave them were,
oh, come on,
not
It wasn't in a stall. I mean, it was a
Yeah.
nice bathroom.
Yeah. So I'm glad that they're more legit now than they used to be.
Yeah, I mean that was Bass listened to a lot of the guys, a lot that squeaky minority from last year was really harping on that. They thought that there was a handful of guys that were just getting tons of information and cheating. They thought there was a handful of guys that were just blatantly cheating. That's what a handful of guys really, really thought. They had a little bit of evidence to go on, but they thought it was more rampant than I think it really was. And then there was a handful of guys that said, be careful what you wish for, guys. That's all I'm saying. And, I think that we're seeing a little bit of that, of be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Yep. Dennis has a question. Do they give polygraphs randomly or just when you win? I mean, I think I know the answer, but you can.
They give, I think it's 5 per event, and 2 in the top 10, 3 in the top 11 to 50. But that they're looking at amending that even again next year. So they're kind of looking at the whole process and making sure they do it, because we had some guys in the field that got the exam 3 times. We had a big chunk that didn't get it once. And then most of the guys just got it once. I think I got it once, and I know a bunch of other guys got it once.
Did most of the guys have to take at least one? You said there was a few that didn't, but
there was 50 total exams. I know of one angler that took it 3 times. I know of a couple that took it twice, and then a couple of those exams were counted as retests. So there were some retests, but they're I don't know what the number is. So approximately 40, 35 to 40 of the 100 got tested, somewhere in that range.
That's good. What do you think about?
I think that's fine.
Yeah. What do you think about, real quick? What do you think about next year's schedule and the coin flip and how it turned out and all that?
I mean, I think it was about as simplistic of a way to show that you're not going to stack any of the tournaments with or without. You're going to show it is absolutely random of which ones they're going to be. I don't care what tournaments you can or can't use it for. It's going to play. There's going to be guys that use it to do well, if not half the field or more. I'm telling you, I don't care what tournament it is, period. It is that cool and powerful of a tool that can help you just be more efficient. Not that you're pinging a minnow on the Arkansas River, but if you're looking on the Arkansas River and you're like, oh my gosh, there's a log way off the bank right there, boom, all of a sudden you're making a cast you wouldn't have made before. Just makes you more efficient of an angler. It doesn't make you a minnow pinger, or however you want to phrase that negatively towards live scope anglers, but it doesn't make you that kind of an angler. It just makes it to where you're utilizing your electronics. So whatever we do, I've been fishing so long that I kind of like it when things change up a little bit. So if we do change the information rule, I've been fishing so long, I'm like, sweet, this is cool. I'm going to actually talk to my buddy about this one lake that we're going to, like, or Gunnersville or somewhere. I'm going to actually call somebody and talk to them about fishing before I go. It'll be interesting if we did change it and amend it. It'll be fun. I've been fishing so long. 50% with and without. Cool. It's a different rule. That's fun. That's going to be fun. I like little changes. I like little tweaks. It keeps it fun and exciting.
Rotating course. Rotating.
Sure,
course.
let's try that. Let's do it. Let's try whatever. Let's do it.
Yeah. Those were the days, man.
I'm like one of those competitive dudes where, like, you walk into a house and somebody's got a pool table sitting there. You're like, ooh, anybody? You're just just ready to get it on. That's what I like. Oh, no, you got a ping pong table downstairs. Okay, even better. Let's go. Let's do this.
Absolutely.
Yep. Then you play that game of how many beers can you have and still have your coordination. So, That's the game older people play. It's more fun.
Man, John, you're one of these guests where you look up at the clock and our hour and a half is already flown by, and Danny hasn't even asked the 2 questions that we require him to ask because he sits there and doesn't say anything. So Kyle and I require him to ask these questions.
All right, yeah, hit me, Danny. Let's do this.
I'm going to switch things up a little bit. I'm going to circle back and use one of Dominic's questions for my off the wall question. Sketchiest boat ride you've had in the Elite Series?
I definitely have a sketchiest. I have a boat ride. There's a couple of them been pretty sketchy, but I definitely have the sketchiest boat ramp experience I could tell you about too. So I don't know about the sketchiest boat ride. Last year when I drove from Waddington, it was actually like 15 to 20 miles out into Lake Ontario. That's probably the worst I've ever, that's the worst boat ride I've ever been in, because it's boat wakes for the whole way. It's not like a chop. Like once we got to the lake and it was a normal chop, it was beautiful. But it's just all the boat wakes that was probably one of the worst boat rides. Dude, I've been in some big, when we went to Buffalo, I think you were around for the Buffalo tournaments, those 2 elites we had there. We had the one day we had legit 10-footers. Legit. Dude, it was, and you had to fish in it because that's where they live. They live out in the lake. They didn't live like behind the breakwalls and stuff. Dude, it was awful. Like I was seasick all that night and like half the next day. Like I had a hangover from being that seasick. I never threw up. I don't throw up from stuff like that, but it wore me out. It got me. That was probably, and driving in that stuff is the sketchiest deal. I remember one time where I was getting up on plane in those giant rollers, and I was getting up on plane, and I had a 4-footer in those waves come over and smack me right in the side of the head as I was trying to get on plane in one of the troughs, like a smaller wave in the giant rollers. Dude, it was a bad deal. But that was super, super sketch right there.
How much money did it cost you in boating fixes when you got back?
Oh, I drove like a normal human being would drive, and so I didn't have any problems. Like nothing broke on my boat. It was good, and I had a bass cat, which also helps. But dude, guys broke the piss out of their boats in those two tournaments. I mean, destroyed them. It was crazy.
Man, I'm almost scared to ask the second one.
All right.
Craziest thing you've seen on your sonar screen? Something unexplainable. Bigfoot? I don't know. Nessie?
I've seen a ton of boats underwater. One of my buddies, Shannon, that worked for Missile for a long time. He found a dead body at Smith Mountain Lake. That was not my experience. That was his. I was fishing on Old Hickory one time, and I had a dildo float down the stream and hit the side of my boat. That was kind of interesting. And I don't know if you just want me to stop there or if you want me to keep going.
Go. That's beautiful.
Okay. Yeah, that sucker just went whack. It went boom. It hit the side of the boat, and being my co-angler, dude, we lost it. We were just dying laughing, because we both saw it at the same time right before it hit the boat. It was great.
That's funny.
Somebody lost their ram bone.
It's hilarious. I don't know how you can top that.
I really don't either, honestly.
Well, I guess I'll finish it off with this one. This is a tribute to my late great friend and friend of many bass anglers. Is one time Aaron Martins texted me a picture of a number 2 that he took off the side of the boat, and it was he could see it on his Lowrance unit, and all he had to do was send me he just sent me the picture of that, and that's all he sent me the picture of, and my text back was no shit, and he just sent back the laughing emojis because he knew that I would understand exactly what it was.
And that was on 2D sonar, to be specific, or
what's that?
Was that on 2D sonar, to be specific, or what?
Yes, that was on 2D because it was in where we were up at Big Bay Denok. That's where we were up in way up in the UP there.
You know, he had that sucker dialed in then. I mean,
oh yeah, you could see them. It's 2 different ones, one above the other.
That's legit. That's like really legit sonar stuff right
I
there.
just felt like that's when you know you're a good friend. It's just when you see something like that and it makes you laugh and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to share this with a friend of mine that would also laugh at this same experience. So they take a picture of it, and he thought of me and sent me the picture.
That is hilarious. Daniel wants to hear the boat ramp story.
Oh yeah.
It happened in Beaumont, Texas. It was Memorial Day weekend. We were practicing there. This is probably 8 years ago or so. No, it was maybe 6 years ago. It was not the last time, at the time before, I think we went. And so I put in there at the one boat ramp I put in it a number of times before at Beaumont, and I put in there that morning, sun up, and there's, it's like 2 other boats there already. Go fish all day, and I'm fishing right until dark, and probably like 20, 30 minutes before dark, Brian Schmidt calls me, and Schmidt says, hey, I just put my boat on the trailer. You might want to put your boat on the trailer now. And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, I'm just telling you, put your boat on the trailer now. I don't care what you're doing. You need to leave now, and call me when you leave. I'm like, okay. Dude, I get back to the boat ramp, and it is like a Snoop Dogg video. I'm not, this is no shit. 3,000 people were at this boat ramp having a party. I pulled up to the docked my boat up. There was a car just up from the boat ramp doing donuts. And smoke was going everywhere. I mean, you couldn't even hear yourself from the music. Car doing donuts, and then it took off going up the hill, and you look, and there's a line of cars, like hundreds of cars coming down the hill to come down there. And so dude, I was like, whatever, dude, so I'll go over to where my truck is. I look, and there's 3 people sitting on my trailer talking to the people in front of them. So I walk to the other side of my trailer, and I'm talking to, like, yelling at them, like, hey, I'm going to move. They can't hear me. That's how loud all this music and all this stuff's going on. They can't even hear me. Luckily, the people that they were talking to were like waved at them and told them to turn around. And they turned around, and I was like, I'm going to move. And they were like, okay, they gave me the thumbs up. So they got it. So I didn't have to do. And so I put my boat on the back my boat in, put my boat on the trailer. And as I'm putting it on the trailer, some 4-wheelers come through doing wheelies all through the parking lot, like right in front of my truck. I thought I had to watch to see where they were. So I put my boat on the trailer. I winched it up. I pulled out, and I drove for 2 miles to a gas station 2 miles up the road before I strapped my boat down. I was like, dude, I'm out. I'm out of this thing. There was one boat trailer left, and it was Chad Pipkins. And so as soon as I got in my truck and started driving, I called Chad. I'm like, Chad, I gave him the Schmidt speech, and I said, dude, put your boat on the trailer now. He said, what? Because, dude, it's getting dark. Like, it's starting to get dark. I said, Chad, put your boat on the trailer now and call me as soon as you do. And he's like, why? I said, trust me, just do it. He said, okay. Dude, 10 minutes later, he calls me. He goes, dude, I am so thankful that you told me to do that. He said, because I was literally scared for my life. And I'm like, you're safe and you're good. He's like, yep. He said, thank you. And so we made it out of the trap, and it was all it all worked out. But that was crazy. I will not put it back in that. I know it'll never happen again, probably in a million years. I will not put it on that boat ramp again.
Party at the Sabine.
Yeah. That's
Man.
crazy.
There was some bad juju going down. Yeah, I'm telling you.
I'm sure.
I got some really dirty looks. That's all I'm saying. Everybody, like 90% of the people were all about having a good time, and it looked like 90% of the people were having a blast.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a few shady characters there.
There's a few looking at the
rims,
looking at your rims, and
no, they were doing activities they did not want me to see them doing. That's what they were doing.
Those Bass Cat wheels for a while had like the Bass Cat fish symbol on the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Those were sweet too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they rolled right up on out of that ramp.
Well, John, we appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, man, I had a good time. That was cool.
Oh,
relive some old stories, man. Yeah, you fished for a long time. You got all these old stories.
Yeah.
Favorite lake in Minnesota? Last question.
I think Mille Lacs is about the only one that I have fished in Minnesota. I fished the Mississippi River in Minnesota, and that's really cool. I like that a lot. But I haven't fished a lot of lakes in Minnesota, and Mille Lacs is amazing. It's an awesome lake.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hey, real quick, John.
Mm-hmm.
Man, keep up the informational social media that you do. You know, the stuff that you've done in the past on your rain suit running outside of your building in a rainstorm. That was awesome. You know, more serious, like the truthful, you know, gear stuff when it comes to setting up Lowrances and different things, like all the tech tips. Super helpful. I appreciate it. So
yeah, man, I appreciate it. I'll give you a little nugget. I'm gonna change up my setup again, and I'm gonna be running Lowrance and Lowrance Active Target this year, and I'm purchasing those items. There's no sponsorship. I'm just
okay.
So just a little sneak preview. It's gonna be some changes on the old boat.
Sweet.
Appreciate you. We do make all of our guests promise one thing. That when you win your next event, that you come on our show like first, like before Mercer. We've had Mercer on this show, and
you're Tuesday night, so you're the night before.
That's right.
Easy. He's Wednesday. He films Wednesday.
He's Wednesday.
Right.
He likes to sneak in a taped show though, so he'll like tape it on Tuesday or Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
as long as we air this.
I mean, we have way more Kansas viewers than he does. I doubt that. That's probably not true.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Let's
true.
go with it though. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
You can trademark it probably.
Well, what he does. I mean,
John, it worked for Slopper twice this year.
Yeah. That's
okay.
True.
Yep. I like Slapper's luck, dude.
And Tucker.
Yep.
And Tucker.
And Tucker.
Yep.
I mean,
all right,
Tucker won his, came on, and then won Rookie of the Year. So.
Yep.
That's all.
Okay.
We appreciate you coming on, and it's been great. Been great to catch up. And
yes, sir. You too. And congrats on your Cubs.
Yeah. Hopefully they can win one more.
That's it.
That'll make my day tomorrow. And if you're ever in the Grand Lake area, I know you guys could probably get VRBOs, but you got to stay here. You got to stay at the Lake Lodge.
Casa de Stuart.
Yep. That's right.
Nice.
Appreciate you.
All right, guys. Yeah, I enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks.
Heck yeah.
Well, he's just part of the gang.
Yeah.
Red Shad D-bombs. Is that what I was trying to point towards earlier?
I thought you were trying to. I don't know if he got that. But I got it.
I think we got most everybody. Oh, we missed Matt Knopf's question, but
We had
if
a
you
lot of
ordered,
people. How many people did we have watching there? I noticed some people chiming in that normally don't chime in.
Yeah. Just a couple new names in there for sure.
I saw Russell Marine. I don't know if that was Reminger on there or if that was Justin.
that was Justin, and well, Chris was here too.
Chris is still here, or looks like he's still here. Yeah, that was a good one. I knew it would be. I wouldn't want to be him. You know, he's got to have a really good temperament to be the leader of that ABP and listen to all that, you know, the negativity, and weed, like he said, weed through it and really get to the real root of the issue and whether or not it's really an issue. You know, you got to have a special temperament for that.
Sure.
I don't really have that.
I don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
I think Kiki left us and went straight to that link that John sent.
I think you did too.
Crazy.
Fun stuff.
One thing I wanted to ask him was, I wonder what percentage of his fish that he caught or tackle that's in his boat is actually his, like Missile or Little John's, you know, all that stuff.
I know I love those Spro crankbaits that he has.
Yeah.
Those are great. And the Aruku lipless. Those are fantastic.
I don't think I've ever thrown that.
Mm.
Need to be thrown that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, look who's back. Oh, now he's gone again.
I'll quit. I'm sorry.
What am I here for?
I don't know.
I saw Mr. Johnny Missile posted something in the private chat.
Yeah, we figured you had to leave and go check that out.
Well, I was trying to click on it, and the next thing you know, I'm like, uh-oh, I need to call my wife and figure out how she gets me on this podcast. I like clicked the wrong button or something. I don't know.
We figured you just went to the store.
Yeah, you're like, I got to go now.
No, I'm scared to, but I don't want to leave the podcast and then screw up and not see that secret website. So
I'm looking at it right. I'm looking at it right now.
America.
Here, I'll copy it.
Oh, there's one bag. There's one bag left. Oh, there was one bag left.
What you talking about, Willis? Man, it takes me too long to.
It's a red shad June bug.
Really?
Yep.
Yep.
There's only 847 left.
There's the link right in the text thread on our messenger, Kiki.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow, I was starting to panic a little.
You thought it was going to be gone forever.
Red shad with green fleck.
Oh, that is awesome. Z tackle. ZS tackle. cool.
I mean, you don't know what it looks like, but it is red shad.
It's a color that I've never seen before in a D-bomb, and I'm buying it.
They got 25 packs.
I mean,
too.
it looks like red shad, but you've never seen red shad, have you?
Boss, I've seen. I know what a red shad power. I can pick a red shad power worm out of a lineup.
Oh, you can? Okay.
You put some different colored plastics in front of me. It's like a quiz. It's like the final exam of high school. I can figure it out real fast.
I can't believe nobody noticed my little friend sitting on the doorknob behind me.
I can't see that.
Hard to see.
Huh?
Can't see it.
Way too small.
we
you
have
got
like
one.
4 or
Cool.
5 of those things too.
Y'all need a little Jesus in your life. There he is.
You know, I thought
That one has a blue sash. Kiki.
Okay. Same color as your shirt.
This one has a green.
it accessorizes. So I didn't want to spend the entire time talking about other guys while we had John on, but past guest Patrick Walters won Angler of the Year in PFL.
Yeah, saw that.
That's pretty cool.
Maybe we can get him back on here, maybe. I am efforting Scott. Canterbury.
That
Cool.
would be very awesome.
Hmm?
That would be very cool. I'm sorry, I'm zstackle.com and I can't. A new tackle shop.
Yay.
I just ordered a bunch, not a bunch, but a little bit of stuff that cost $100 from Tackle Warehouse.
I kind of get
be here tomorrow.
I get excited when I see something flashy and new at a new tackle shop that I've never heard of before. And he rattled off a whole bunch. And luckily for me, I can just back up on this podcast and listen to that whole list again.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I'm past that. I'm pretty much just buy the same old stuff that I need when I run out. Like when I run out of green pumpkin Cinco's, then I order a bunch of bags and I pre-rig them and all. And
That's it.
I mean, I ordered my Tackle Warehouse order consisted of several bags of Cinco's, O-rings, nail weights, Nico rig hooks, and I think that's it.
Are you going to bust out a fairy wand on me at the song next year?
No. I don't throw that stuff on a fairy wand.
That's my duties then, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd throw that on a medium, moderate action bait caster with 12-pound sunline on it. And I can throw it as far as I need to throw it. I can comfortably throw it 30 or 40 yards which is plenty far.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Kiki saw something shiny.
Mm. It's incredible.
All right, fellas.
Guys,
We
thanks for tuning in.
You guys are past your bedtime, Danny and Kyle.
I woke up in the middle of the night to go pee at this time last night.
In the middle of the night.
We get up at 5 every day anyway, and then but Wednesday I'm up by 4:30. So yeah, I'm old. I'm crotchety.
I get up at 7:30 whether I need to or not, unless I'm fishing.
I got to go to T-Town tomorrow, so I'm going to get up a little bit earlier than normal.
There you go.
All righty.
Folks, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in and putting up with us for the 72nd time.
Man,
Can you believe it?
we're close to that 75th anniversary.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, indeed.
Have to get somebody special on for that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a 75-year-old.
Maybe that will be here. 72nd.
Boom.
72nd. So that means next week is 73.
3.
I'm looking at the calendar. Hold on.
They say
70.
third week of October, John. Is that right?
I'm looking at reservations. Okay, 73. So that would be 74 on the 7th, or 73 on the 7th, 74 on the 14th, 75. We will have a 75-year-old here during that night.
Talk about a coincidence.
That's pretty cool.
Mm.
I don't know if we can get him to stay up this late, though.
Well, he can stay up from like 7 to 7:30 probably.
Yeah,
right?
maybe.
Oh, yeah. And I'll be on live remote from across Wisconsin
Oh,
that night.
go find yourself a pretty background to be on in. Up there.
Maybe that ice cream stand that
Oh,
Pat was
that's
talking
right.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give a live review of the ice cream shop.
Okay.
Oh, I'm down. Folks, thanks for watching. Until next time, peace and chicken grease, yo.
Go Cubs.
Go Cubs or whatever.